Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Come on. And welcome back to Halloween Horror Month, where we are talking about Exorcist: The Beginning. Yes. So, back in about 2003 or so, filming began on an Exorcist prequel starring Stellan Skarsgård as Father Lancaster Marin, and it was to be directed by Paul Schrader. He was filming it, it was getting going, and then our good friends at Morgan Creek stepped in and said, nah, this isn't what we want, and instead they fired Schrader, hired Rennie Harlan to come in and boost up the gore, replaced most of the cast except for Skarsgård, and gave us Exorcist: The Beginning. That didn't work out, so a year later, after that failed, they called Schrader back in to finish his version of the film, resulting in Dominion, prequel of The Exorcist. Now, we're not talking about this one this time. We're going to talk about this next time. We are talking about The Exorcist: The Beginning this time. And you know what? He's not that bad. He's not that bad. I'm usually down on prequels. I say, prequels, they have no suspense, because, either everyone's going to die, or if it's characters that we know before, we know they're going to survive, and everyone else is probably going to die, right? And in a way, that is true about this film. There is that. We know Father Marin's not going to die. We know that possibly everyone else is going to die. There's quite a bit of that, actually. But I think this is actually pretty well done. I mean, it is Rennie Harlan. He has done some pretty good things in the past. Die Hard 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, which I think is an unrated chapter in there. The Long Kiss Goodnight. Who could forget his pirate adventure, right? Right? The pirate movie? Everyone knows that. Right? Matthew Modine, Gina Davis. Okay, joking aside. That is probably his worst film. This is probably not as bad as that, although I haven't seen that movie, so I wouldn't know. But this was actually not that bad. If Father Marin is he's sent by the Vatican to Africa to investigate a church that is found and to locate a relic of sorts, right? Which ultimately he never returns with. I think he does find, but he never returns with it. Whatever. When he gets there, he finds possession, hyenas, death, and flashes from his past. And admittedly, I think the worst part of this movie for me is the flashes back to World War II Germany. I know that it happened. I know we shouldn't ignore it. But when I go to see an Exorcist film, I want to see Exorcist stuff. I want to see ghosts, ghouls, demons, people getting their heads turned around, stuff like that. I don't want to see Nazis forcing Father Marin to shoot children. That's not what I come to see for. And that's not what I come to see these for. And that was the worst part of this. Like they hint at it at the beginning, but then when he finally has all his memories, and we see what he was forced to do, I'm just like, no, that was not necessary. We know the Nazis were bad dudes. We know they did bad things. We don't need to see that in a movie like this. This is The Exorcist. It's not a Nazi priest. He wasn't a Nazi. I thought they were going to go that route. I thought it was going to be revealed that this Nazi commander guy was Marin. And I'm like, nah, that's going a bit too far. No, he was a priest during World War II that was trying to fight against the Nazis, but they forced him to kill someone, and that's how to kill children, and that's how he lost his faith. Couldn't he have just had a crisis of faith where he just says, I lived through World War II, And after what happened, I knew there was no God, or something like that. This is all hyperbole. I do not believe that. I'm just saying. Okay? Don't spite me. Don't smite me. I'm just saying. Okay? Anyway, I'm just saying. They could have just went with that, said that, and not need to show us anything. But they went that extra mile to do it, and I think that's just too much. Alright? So they have Isabella Scorupco, from GoldenEye, here as sort of a love interest for him. She plays Sarah. She's a doctor here, and she talks about her husband, how they divorced and how it wasn't working, like that. And she's sort of like a love interest for Marin, although we know it probably won't work out because we know they're going to become a priest again. And a lot of the times when you're a priest, you're celibate, and you don't really take a wife. Sometimes you do, but sometimes you just really don't. But there is that thing. That lingering thing. Then we get this scene. This scene got me, man. I mean, the CGI was kind of bad, but there's these hyenas that keep lurking around. At one point, there are two children, Joseph and James. James is really attacked by these hyenas while he's yelling at his brother to help him. What I'm yelling, though, is that Father Francis comes out and he's got this, not Father Francis, but like the African guy, their dad comes out with a gun and he's kind of standing there looking at it. I'm like, fucking shoot! And then Marion gets up and, okay, here we go. And he just kind of stands there and he takes one shot and does nothing. Just standing there, shoot! I feel like in Jurassic Park, shoot her! Shoot her! It's just, it just, I don't know how to hold a gun. I mean, like that, I don't know. Just rifle, whatever. Do anything, and James gets killed. And it is implied that Joseph is possessed. That scene was pretty well done. There's another scene that I think was also pretty well done where Marin goes to see the priest, or the archaeologist, that was there. And he goes in there. At this point, you've already seen a little bit of his past and flashbacks. So he goes to talk to him. The guy has a swastika cut in his chest. And then he speaks to him, saying the words that this Nazi general said to him in the Nazi general's voice, which just freaks him out, of course. Remember, this is a man who's lost his faith. So you think maybe this would help? No, we gotta wait till the climax of the film for that. Alright? And what a climax it is. This was what the big change in this movie, I think, was. Much like with Exorcist 3, Morgan Creek wanted a big finale. Right? Big finale. So you got it. You got it. There is this. So, at the beginning of the film, when Marin gets there, he's told by Father Francis that there was a war, and a bunch of the tribesmen died and were buried in a cemetery. But Father Marin starts to realize that something is not right, because he notices that the tribesmen, they burn their dead at the stake. When a woman gives birth to a stillborn baby with maggots all over it, they cremate it. So he realizes that's what they do. So he starts digging up the graves. He digs up 3 graves and notices they're empty. So he assumes they're all empty, which is true. And it's revealed that this gravesite was faked, so they can bury the church, because the church was built on it. They believe that this site was where Lucifer fell from heaven, and thus there is evil here. And they built the church to capture it, and then they buried it in the sand to keep it from anything. And of course, the evil is Pazuzu, but of course they don't say the name, but you have the statue. Wikipedia calls it Pazuzu, but I think, it was the second film who invented the name Pazuzu, so by having the other movies say that name, it's acknowledging that the movie exists, which in these continuities, it doesn't, I don't know what this version is, but I kind of like that this is the prequel with this is that it goes this Exorcist, and Exorcist 3, and that's it. I think that would be a good timeline, but I've not seen this yet, so I've heard this is supposed to be the better version. I don't know, because I kind of like this, you know. But yeah, so it comes to a head, right? When Father Merrin returns, and he goes looking for Sarah. He tells the battle between these British soldiers and, because this is like 1949 or whatever, British soldiers and these tribesmen just start going. And so they say they have to save the kid because the tribesmen think that Joseph is possessed, and then the soldiers think that the only way to stop this is to kill the tribesmen. They're in a war now. So Merrin tells Father Francis to get the child out of there, but they're not able to leave because it was sandstorm. And I swear to God, I thought it was going to be locusts, but it wasn't. By the way, where's Kokumo? Right? Again, you can't do that because, you know. Although, given how old Max von Sydow was in those flashbacks, I think this could be the time frame that would have happened. So we are erasing the second one because that would have been around the same time frame. And I kind of expected some of that, but he's in Africa in the 40s, but there's no Kokumo, there's no locusts, that sort of thing. You know. So they can't get him out of this, so Father Francis' solution is to take Joseph to the church. The church where they know a demon has come from. In a place where Lucifer had landed when he fell to earth. That's smart. No, it's not. While Father Merrin searches for Sarah, he can't find her, but he finds her room all decorated in satanic stuff, blood and whatnot, and then he finds a picture of her and her husband. And wouldn't you know it, her husband is the possessed archaeologist, which means she is also possessed. So they were trying to make us think that it was the kid, Joseph, that was possessed, and it worked with me. I thought it was going to be him, you know, that he's the Reagan of the film, but no, it's her. Because you see, it has to be female so that we can copy the makeup that Linda Blair had on her. Because yeah, when they show Isabella Scorupco, Sarah, possessed, it's the same makeup with the scarves and everything on her face. And I went, okay, now you're heading too far in the direction original. You're trying to, what's the word? You're trying to piggyback off the success of that. Say, look, it's just like the first one. Look at that. I'm pretty sure Morgan Creek wanted that exact makeup design too, because it's just like the first one, right? And just like the other movies, he starts doing an exorcism. Father Francis is killed. He takes up the cloth again. He puts the holy water on his face. He says, "Forgive my sins." He starts doing this, and of course, one thing I'm noticing about these movies is that these exorcisms take fucking forever. It doesn't work. I don't understand. As soon as they start doing the thing, it just I've seen other media, other shows and movies that have done it where it happens very quick, but these movies seem to dry it out for so fucking long. Now the first Exorcist movie did a great job because there was that whole thing, you know. It was about Father Karras getting his faith back in doing it. But here, Merrin already has his faith. He already has his faith. And all it shows is to me, given this and the first one, he can't do jack shit, whether he has faith or not, because it doesn't work. It looks like it works. And then when he and Sarah hug, Joseph all of a sudden is backing up, and you're like, okay, it didn't work. And then, blah, and then it works. But like Pazuzu warned, you try and I'll kill her. So, it snaps her neck and she dies. But, I'm still saying it didn't work. Because if it worked, then the demon would be sent back to hell. But we know that Pazuzu was still around. So, no, it didn't work. Which means that Merrin and I'm putting this and I'm putting the first one in a continuity gap together. Marin never did a successful exorcism. I have to believe that, because here it didn't work. Much like in the first film, here it's killed itself. Where the first film was cares, but still it snapped its own neck because it said it would kill her, and then it flew off. It's not done. It will be back, however long it takes. This is 1949, so about 30 years. Or 24 years. About 24 years. So, yeah. About 24 years before it comes back. I don't know. But then they dig themselves out of the sand, Father Marin and Joseph. By the way, Joseph, clever naming. And the church is buried in the sand again. And then here, everybody is dead. All the soldiers, all the British soldiers, all the tribesmen, everyone is dead. And then Father Marin returns to the Vatican empty-handed, say he couldn't find what he was looking for. Well, he did, but he's not going to give it to him. He said he couldn't find it. But you found something else. Yeah, his faith, because he's now Father Marin. Again. So, just, And he get creepy music, which is, I don't think it's the same music from The Exorcist, but then again, his music, the Exorcist music never actually played when Father Marin was introduced. But all the parodies put it there. All in all, I actually like this movie. I'm going to give it a high middle of the road, though. Because the first two were pretty good. And now this is not on a scale of those first two. Not by any means. But I think it's a decent watch. Now, whether this one is better or not is yet to be determined. I'll give you that one when it's, when I get to it. But, yeah, I don't think this was that bad. I think it was actually decently done, But what are your thoughts on Exorcist, the beginning? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.